Jerry Scott, Senior Political Correspondent at The Times, thank you very much indeed. Now, lecturers at Cardiff University have voted in favour of strike action and a marking and assessment boycott. The University and College Union says it wants to force the university to reconsider what it says are cruel and unnecessary job cuts and rule out compulsory redundancies. Dr. Andy Williams is a senior lecturer at the University School of Journalism, Media and Culture, a member of the union. Delighted to say he's here in the studio. Andy, a very good afternoon to you.
Thank you for having me.
A pleasure, but it's not going to be much fun this summer for students who are taking their finals if your colleagues decide they don't want to mark their papers. This might seem to students as a very cruel decision, a very cruel move to take.
On our part, you mean?
Yes.
Well, it might seem like that to some, and any kind of industrial action is always a last resort and is carried out extremely reluctantly, especially the nuclear option of a marking and assessment boycott. But we've been left no choice by the university. They haven't moved in any significant ways. There were some minor advances and glimmers of hope in yesterday's announcement, but not a huge amount. 1,400 remained in scope for redundancy before their announcements, and now it's just over 1,300. They've made a lot out of the reduction in the figure from 400 staff to go down to 286, but that's only because we've lost those staff to voluntary redundancy and voluntary severance. We've still lost those staff, and the announcement on nursing was actually very vague when you looked at the wording of it, and I'll trust them on nursing and saving nursing, as some of the headlines were saying, when we see some real firm commitments from the university and their partners, the external partners that they need to get agreement from too.
So we heard yesterday that the School of Nursing is a sort of a U-turn, isn't it? Because the School of Nursing isn't going to shut. Some programmes will close, but the School of Nursing will remain. Now, you say the nuclear option, so you admit, if you like, that saying to final year students, we're not going to mark your papers, you might be graduating without knowing your degree classification is the nuclear option. Do you really think the university will be swayed by this decision, nuclear option or not?
I think the university is terrified of this kind of industrial action. The last time we did it, in 2023, it ground the place to a halt. It was part of a national marking and assessment boycott, which ultimately didn't get the kind of gains that we were hoping for. But privately, senior members of the university management compared the impact of the 2023 marking boycott to the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on university life. They do not want this to happen, and we've been forced into it. I was speaking with my students today about this. Obviously, they were asking me. They read the news as good journalism students, and I got nothing but support. Anger, for sure, but anger directed at the Vice-Chancellor because of the absolutely cruel and chaotic way in which senior managers have been ramming through these cuts when there are other options on the table, options which don't end up in compulsory redundancies and which mean that the university spends some of its vast available sums of available cash that aren't currently allocated against anything else.
The university, though, says that it has to do, it has to cut its cloth accordingly.
It does, but that's just not true. We've done independent analysis of the university's, we've had independent analysis of the university's finances done, and we've submitted a really, really well thought through and evidence-based alternative set of proposals to them. The reason they want to ram the changes through, I think, in such short order and not take a longer period and avoid compulsory redundancies is because they want this to be a precedent. They want to be able to continue to salami slice and cut bits off the university which they think are unprofitable or which they don't want to continue teaching for other reasons, as in the case of nursing, I believe.
Dr. Andy Williams, thank you very much indeed. Cardiff University has described the industrial action as disappointing and said it would inevitably cause disruption to students. I know that we will be talking, I'm sure, to Dr. Williams again if this strike action does go ahead. The time is 18 minutes to 6.